According to Lieutenant Robert Martin of the Los Angeles Police Department, singer Marvin Gaye was shot this afternoon. He was visiting his parents, and he and his father became involved in an argument, and his father shot him. He died after arriving at the hospital. Repeated again, Marvin Gaye is dead. He was shot this evening by his father. And according to Lieutenant Robert Martin, his father has been arrested for killing him. Clara Luper reporting, KAEZ Radio in Oklahoma City. Ben Tipton is back. Ben Tipton's program will be aired on Mondays from Robert Martin of the Los Angeles Police Department. Singer Marvin Gaye was shot this afternoon. He was visiting his parents, and he and his father became involved in an argument, and his father shot him. He died after arriving at the hospital. Repeated again, Marvin Gaye is dead. He was shot this evening by his father. And according to Lieutenant Robert Martin, his father has been arrested for killing him. Clara Luper reporting, KAEZ Radio in Oklahoma City. Ben Tipton is back. Ben Tipton's program will be aired on Mondays from 6 to 9 p.m. This is what you, the public, have wanted, and this is what you, the public, will get, starting tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. And I have as my distinguished guest today, Mr. Ben Tipton. Mr. Tipton, how are you today?
Just so fine.
Oh.
Not your distinguished guest.
You are my distinguished guest today.
I'm your son.
Sure.
Don't forget,
my son can be my guest,
Don't forget the
too.
fact that Calvin and I are born on the same day.
That's on February the 10th, and you are under some terrible sign. Ben, we are so happy, and I would like to welcome you back home.
That's right. I couldn't do no more than one a week. The reason for it, this time around, it's a man, his music, and the message. When I was doing what I did before, I didn't realize how blessed I was, so I didn't say some things I could have said maybe that would have kept some of those boys out of McAllister. This time around, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to play some songs that you're going to boogie on. I'm going to play some songs that Mom Jack's going to boogie on, that Opio's going to boogie on. Because I'm going to take us back to then. But more importantly, every time the song ends, I'm going to say something. Don't agree with me. Disagree with me. If you do, I just got through hearing Councilman James. I'm so glad to hear him say what he's saying. I understand what he's going through down there at the council. He's got to keep on doing whatever he got to keep on doing. More importantly, everybody out there that can hear me on this station, I want them to know how good and how kind you've been to me. It's my time to do my special thing, but it's time now for them to listen to Opio.
Thank you so very kindly, Ben. And that's tomorrow at 6 p.m. on KAEZ Radio here in Oklahoma City. Once again, the show will be called what now? Tell me again. You have to tell me over and over so I can get it.
A man.
A man.
His music.
His music.
And his message.
And his message. Don't you miss it. Don't you miss a man, his music, and his message. Mr. Frank Ford is dead. Reverend Frank Ford is dead. There's a silent voice on North Everett Street in Oklahoma City this evening. The people that live between 42nd and 43rd on Everett Street know that there is a silent voice. The voice, the personality, the friendliness of Mr. Frank Ford will no longer be held. It will no longer be heard because Mr. Frank Ford, on March 29, 1984, went home to be with his God. Funeral services will be held on Tuesday, April the 3rd at 11 a.m. at the Greater Mount Carmel Baptist Church, located at 3721 Staten Drive, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Who was Frank Ford? He was a son of the late Reverend and Mrs. M.F. Ford, born in Topeka, Kansas, moving to the southern part of Oklahoma, settling in Idabel, Oklahoma. In Idabel, Oklahoma, he accepted Christ at an early age and united with the Plainview Baptist Church in Idabel under the pastorate of his father, Reverend M.F. Ford. What a day for a father when a son accepted Christ. Frank Ford served in the United States Navy during World War II and received an honorable discharge and was proud of the fact that he served his country and served it well. We love stories. And the story of Frank Ford and Dorothy Hill is a beautiful story. It's a love story that started in Wiley College in Marshall, Texas. It's a story of a wedding, September the 2nd, 1947, at Wiley College in Marshall, Texas. It's a story of a lovely wife following her husband in his career as he supported her in her career. In 1953, Mr. Ford began his career with the General Service Administration as a custodian foreman, and through hard work and dedication was selected as the second black building manager trainee in the world to participate in GSA's building manager trainee program. We saw him climb the ladder of success. In 1968, he was transferred to the regional office of GSA in Fort Worth, Texas, working there as a building management specialist. And because of hard work and dedication, he was reassigned to the position of Equal Employment Management and Training Officer for Public Business Service. And during that time, he made history. He wrote the PBS Equal Employment Program and inspected field offices in Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, becoming the first one of his race to so inspect. He continued to climb the ladder of success. On July 15, 1973, he was selected as the first black area manager in Region 7, which duties transferred him back to his adopted state, the state of Oklahoma. In 1981, he was appointed area manager for the state of Arkansas and retired after more than 30 years of service. His retirement date was July 11, 1982. Mr. Frank Ford was a winner. He won 3 of GSA's top awards. Awards noted commendable service, exceptional service, and public service. Frank Ford was a winner. He received 4 outstanding sustained superior awards. He was Federal Executive Council Chairman of the 1981-82 Independent Agent for the Federal Government, National Chairman of the Idabel Alumni Association, President of the Oklahoma City chapter of the Idabel Booker T. Washington Slater Club, member of the Northeast Optimist Club, a 4-year past president of Beta Lambda chapter of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and a life member of his beloved fraternity, the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Once again, Frank Ford was a winner. And to be a winner, a real winner, he was called by God into the ministry in 1982 and was licensed to preach the gospel in May of 1982. He was licensed by his pastor, Reverend J. Allen Smith of the Greater Mount Carmel Baptist Church. He was a devoted member of the church, serving as a teacher of the men's Bible class, chairman of the Men's Day program, member of the men's chorus, vacation Bible school teacher, associate minister of the youth department, associate minister of the Mount Carmel Baptist Church, and was a student at the King is Coming Bible Institute. Yes, there's a silent voice on every street. There's a vacant seat at the Mount Carmel Baptist Church. There's a vacant seat at the King is Coming Bible Institute. But Reverend Ford has gone on to his eternal award for an eternal diploma. And today, those of us at KAEZ Radio on the Clara Luper radio show extend our sympathy to his lovely wife, Mrs. Dorothy Ford, to his daughter and son, Latrice and Frank Lamarck Ford, to his son and daughter-in-law, Mr. and Mrs. Grover Don Ford of San Francisco, to his foster daughter, Doris Johnson of Phoenix, Arizona, to his stepmother, Mrs. Catherine Ford, and to his brother, Mitchell Ford of Tulsa, Oklahoma, to his grandsons, to his uncles, and to the entire family. But most of all, we are thankful today that God allowed us to know Mr. Frank Ford. Mrs. Hunter was very close to Mr. and Mrs. Frank Ford, and I've always enjoyed her telling me about the experiences that she and Mrs. Ford and Mrs. Nancy Davis have shared together through the years. She told me about the kind of person that Mrs. Dorothy Ford has always been, and the kind of inner strength that she continues to demonstrate. Good times, she demonstrated strength. In bad times, she demonstrated strength. And Letty, I am so happy you are here today to share with me moments of memory of Frank Ford. I've talked about to Mr. Frank Ford as I have seen him. Certainly it's an honor to live in that neighborhood. Would you tell our audience what you thought of Mr. Ford?
Mrs. Luper, and to the radio audience, I've known Mrs. Ford and Mr. Ford for several years. Mr. Ford was always just a happy person. Each time that I would drop by and ring the doorbell, when he would come, he would have the same kind of expression, a big smile. And he always wanted the best for his family. He was always a happy person. And I would go in and say, "Well, how you doing today?" And he would say, "Oh, I'm just fine." And I said, "Well, where's the better half of yours?" Or either I'd ask, "What wonderful thing did you bring when you were away?" Because each time he would leave home. And I would go by there, he would always bring his wife something beautiful. And that gave me to know that he really appreciated her and he loved her. And when I was called and told that Frank Ford had gone, and I said to Nancy Davis, she said, "Letty, Dorothy's husband has passed." And I said, "What Dorothy?" She said, "Letty, you know, our Dorothy. because they were just like a brother or a sister to us, because she was our Dorothy and Frank was our Frank. And we loved both of them, and I want to let them know that I'm extending a heartfelt sympathy, more than she will ever know, to her and to her children, because I saw them grow up as from babies up to they are now young men and young women. And they too were always happy children. And they had a love for their father, and he had a love for his children. And he was never too busy to stop to see what they had to say when they wanted to tell him something. He was a kind person. I'm sure he will be missed in the home, and he will be missed in the community. And this is one thing that Dorothy doesn't know, that he said to me, because I went by and she wasn't home, and he was going into the ministry. And he said he felt this is what the Lord wanted him to do. And he had to give up some of his social activities and put priorities where he felt the Lord wanted him to put them, because he wanted to dedicate his life to God. And I told him I thought it was just wonderful, and I told him it wouldn't be an easy battle for a young man to go into the ministry. It wouldn't be an easy hill to climb. But he said he understood this. But he wanted to do this for the Lord. And I was told when he was to have his first sermon, and I regret that I wasn't able to attend to hear his first services. But I bidded him goodwill, and I knew if he believed in the Lord, and I believed in the Lord, it will all happen. So on Tuesday, we will join Dorothy at Mount Carmel Baptist Church at 11 o'clock this Tuesday. And she also said they are having a wait on Monday evening at 7. And if she has some friends and you want to go by, because it is a family-tied night, you may go by the funeral home and visit there with the family. This will be on Monday night.
Thank you, Letty. Yes, on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. A crowd will gather to say goodbye to Mr. Frank Ford, or to Reverend Frank Ford. Participating in the services will be Reverend M.T. Berry, Reverend Ronald McCloy, Lynette Kramer. The Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity will sing that final hymn, and Reverend J. Allen Smith will deliver the eulogy. Clara Luper reporting, KAEZ Radio, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Today is indeed a sad day. One, hearing about Reverend Ford. Two, hearing about the Marvin Gaye. But then often the sadness, I think that there's a little bit of excitement, because we will have an opportunity to start something new. And I want to remind you to make sure that you're listening to KAZ radio station at 6 o'clock Monday, and listen to a man, his message, his music. I'm certain that we'll enjoy welcoming Ben Tipton back to KAZ radio. But Mom, you have a special guest in there on the telephone, and I know she has some exciting news. Go ahead and tell us, your intelligent listening audience, what is happening down there.
Okay, this is a Clara Luper radio show here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We are making news today, and we are telling you the news. We do have some very important guests that will be with us later on in the Clara Luper radio show. We're getting it together. We are talking to Mrs. Mary Johnson down in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and we're talking about Miss Black Ardmore. It's no secret now. There will be 30 contestants in the 1984 Miss Black Oklahoma. It will be held on June 9th at the Merritt Convention Center. But many of you in Oklahoma City will be happy, because Miss Black Oklahoma City will be April the 14th. And today we will be giving away 5 more tickets to Miss Black Oklahoma City. We want you to see Oklahoma City. Select its Miss Black Oklahoma City. someone to represent you in that big state pageant on June 9th?
You know, with the state pageant coming up, I think so many things are going to be happening. I know I'm looking forward to the fact that there are going to be 30 beautiful, talented young ladies here competing again to find out who will be Miss Black Oklahoma 1984. I look forward to it. But before then, the city competition. Now, that's where I hope that this year we'll have the opportunity to get a Miss Black Oklahoma contestant from Oklahoma City who will eventually be Miss Black Oklahoma. I certainly look forward to that.
Okay, Calvin, I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what happened in Ardmore last night.
The Zeta Phi Beta sorority of Ardmore presented their 6th Miss Black Ardmore pageant last night to an overflowing crowd at the Garnet Center here in
Okay,
Ardmore.
wait just a minute. Now, what do you mean by an overflowing crowd?
There was not even standing room at the Garnet Center last night. There were so many people there to wish these girls good luck at this program.
Oh, well, that's good in Ardmore, but guess what's going to happen in Oklahoma City on April the 14th? We are going to have standing room at our pageant here in Oklahoma City.
Well, you all have to do a lot to compete with the city of Ardmore.
What do you mean, do a lot? We are the city, the capital city.
We are planning to bring the trophy back to Ardmore this year.
Are you talking about the Miss Black Oklahoma trophy?
Yes, I am.
Okay, who was your winner?
Our Miss Black Ardmore for 1984 is Miss Carol Clemens, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Clemens of Ardmore.
I understand that you have a Miss Carter County, too. Is that true?
Yes, we have a talented Jeanette Nash, who is a student at the University of Oklahoma, and she will represent Carter County well at the pageant.
Now, is it true that you have Miss Black Tatums from that part of the state?
Yes, we have. We're entering our first Miss Black Tatum. Carter County and the city of Ardmore will be well represented because I feel that we have capable young women with standards and high qualities here in this area to be a part of the Oklahoma State Miss Black pageant.
Now, you're telling the people in Oklahoma that you're bringing from Ardmore. Give me the name again.
Miss Carol Clemens, Miss Ardmore, Miss Black Tatum, Barbara Hurley, Miss Carter County, Jeanette Nash.
I would like to congratulate you, Mrs. Johnson, and I understand that you're going to bring all your contestants that didn't win to Oklahoma City just to watch the pageant during that week. Is that right?
Yes, the other contestants that participated in the pageant, I feel that would be a good experience for these young ladies to see the experience that you get from a state pageant in Oklahoma. The pageant we have at the state level is of high quality and great experience that a young lady will always treasure all through their lives. They'll learn more about goals and challenges and be able to meet anything that comes up in the future.
Have you ever seen a pageant that's as well organized as the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant?
The Miss Black Oklahoma pageant is the pageant of America.
Well, I love that because last year we had 19 young ladies, and this year we have, guess how many?
Tell me.
30 young ladies.
We are really growing, and I'm glad to see that the young ladies of Oklahoma are now beginning to stand up and to be counted.
Well, I am proud of our young ladies. We have 30 young ladies who do not have any children, young ladies that have been number one in our books. And thank you so very kindly. And now we're going back to Calvin. Okay? Bye-bye.
You're absolutely right. You're back to Calvin. I wish I could see that Miss Mary Johnson down there in Ardmore talking about Miss Ardmore will be the next Miss Black Oklahoma. Personally, I don't think it can happen because I know that here in the city of Oklahoma City, the capital city of the state, that we have fantastic talent and we have fantastic beauty. And I look forward to this pageant being the pageant where the next Miss Black Oklahoma will come from. Just an additional note on that Marvin Gaye story, Mom. Something came in just on the wire while we were talking to Miss Johnson in Ardmore about the Miss Black pageant. But tomorrow would have been Marvin Gaye's birthday. And as the show progresses, we'll try to keep our listening audience just as intelligent as we are on that sad but tragic situation that happened to a young man that's been close to all of us, not only through his music, but through his song and through his life.
Thank you, Calvin. I have some very distinguished guests here today, and I want you to get your pencils and paper because I want you to be aware of what's happening in Oklahoma City. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to attend the worst organized county convention that I have ever seen. And if you are serious about the Democrats winning, you should have been present yesterday. The convention was completely unorganized. I went up to Mr. Pitts, who's the county chairperson, and I said, Mr. Pitts, what's going on here? I'm just a high school teacher. But as a high school teacher, we would have counted the number of delegates. We would have supplied seats for the delegates. And certainly we would have started it, making sure that there was a microphone or a sound system where people could hear. The Democratic Party insulted the intelligence of all of the delegates yesterday. You could not hear unless you were standing right beside Mr. Pitts. The Honorable Glenn English spoke yesterday, and the people didn't hear a word that he said. Now, I have some more news for you, and I want to repeat it so you Democrats and you Labor people can get mad with me if you want to, but that was the worst mess I have ever seen in my life as far as advertisement. The homemade signs did not indicate where people were going. Why could not the Democrats make use of the abilities that's within the Democratic Party? And if that kind of organization continues, we can just give Oklahoma over to the Republicans. But speaking of this, I have a young man here today that I am so happy to be my distinguished guest, because I really wanted to salute this young man for what he did yesterday. And I want to, before he gets on, I want to talk about some more people. Some of you black people out there in radio land were selected as delegates and alternates. And you kept your behinds at home because you did not understand responsibility. And I want to tell you that nobody has any respect for people that will commit themselves to do a job, and then on a day when votes are needed, they are at home. But in spite of it all, the Jesse Jackson people were heard yesterday. And I would like to congratulate Mr. Opio Toure for what you did yesterday. And he is here as my distinguished guest, and he was one of the organizers for the Jesse Jackson's campaign. Tell us about it as you saw it yesterday.
Thank you, Mrs. Luper, for having us here today. Yesterday was perhaps one of the greatest days in the history of the Democratic Party, especially in terms of minority people, black people, Indian people, poor whites who had never participated before. We scored a victory in that we registered more than 20% of the delegates at the Oklahoma County Convention. We made the Democratic Party stand up and listen to the issues that black people, Indian people, Hispanic people, poor whites are concerned about. And we made the presidential candidates come and make commitments to us in terms of addressing the issues of concern to all people across this country.
I want to congratulate you for doing that. It was a difficult job. I was there. I watched it step by step. And I want to say to the people, what Jesse Jackson is saying is that minorities are being locked out. For example, on every level, we must get 20% of the delegates or else we are out. Is that right,
That's
Attorney?
Exactly right, and that's one of the rules that Reverend Jackson has challenged across the country. Last night at the very end, some of us stayed till 9 o'clock at that county convention because we wanted the Democratic Party to address that very issue. And at the end, over a lot of objections, we passed a resolution throwing that rule out. Of course, that won't happen, but we passed a resolution establishing a primary system in Oklahoma so that candidates such as Jesse Jackson, when they capture votes of people, they will also get delegates.
All right, now, for example, black people represent 9.8% of the population of this state, yet we have to come up with 20% of the delegates before we can get a delegate, right?
That's correct.
Okay, now, yesterday, at one point, some people didn't think we would make it. Tell me about
signatures. We had many more people than we really needed to have.
Sure, the Credentials Committee. Once again, I'm talking about efficiency in the Democratic Party, which was certainly lacking yesterday.
Mrs. Luper, we also want to give you a thanks while we're here on the air because you are one of the people, one of the leaders of the community, one of the very few leaders who were there present and working. We were happy to see your entire family there. We had others who had their entire families there. We're very happy to see people who had never participated before, the locked out, the ones who had their boats at the bottom of the river. Our convention delegation was the most representative of all the delegations at the convention yesterday.
I had an experience that I shall never forget. We needed how many more delegates in order that we could have some representatives from Jesse, attorney.
At the first count, we needed about 5 more
Five more delegates. And we went out into the public, into blacks that were sitting in the Mundale and the Hart area. And we asked them to come on and go with us so we can get it. And do you know, blacks like Representative Freddie Williams and others continue to sit with the majority rather than coming over to the minority. And I think, I'm saying this because I don't see how black people can come to us and tell us to support them, and then when we need them, they sit glued to seats. Now, I don't like that. And I want everybody to know that I feel that you've got to have some loyalty to something else besides yourselves and your security. I saw the president of the vice president of NACP, Mr. Leslie Brown, who never came downstairs to say to those of us that were wrestling for Jesse Jackson, I want you to have good luck. I went to black after black, little old young black, come telling me that he likes Mundale's stand on education. I said, man, you don't even know what education is. If you look up here and look at all these delegates, you see what education is. And he said, I've got to stay with the Mundale people. Well, I said, okay, go on. But one thing happened. Do you remember when I went out there and I saw some of my white friends? And I asked some of my white friends to come in and help me because we in trouble. And what happened when I walked in there with those white people that decided to change to help us out?
We had white delegates who came over to the Jesse Jackson campaign, who supported Jesse Jackson, and who were elected as delegates to go to the district convention in Clinton in next month.
Well, that is commendable. And the labor people, black folks scared of labor. Well, it was black folks that kept right to work from coming into here. And if labor doesn't understand that, they need to go back and look at their books. Well, I want to say that, and I want to thank you so very kindly for being my guest this evening. And where do you go from here?
We go to Clinton, Oklahoma for those delegates in the 6th District. We also have some Jesse Jackson supporters in the 5th District. We're going to Ponca City on April the 14th. Thank you very much, Mr. Luper, for having us.
And we have a total of how many votes for Jesse Jackson?
We have 10 delegates out of the, I always forget the exact number of delegates at the district, but we have far more influence than our numbers would indicate.
And we are going to be heard. Yesterday, I was so proud of Reverend Mays and Reverend Reed. And when we started saying, win, Jesse, win, we went to town. And we want the world to know that somebody is going to have to get off of these Jim Crow Democratic titties and come on home to reality. Because it is a fact that Governor Nye has not appointed a black judge. It's a fact that we aren't represented equally, and we need to do something about it. And the only way we can do something about it is to stand up and be counted. Well, thank you so very kindly, and certainly thank you, Orange & Sons Trucking and Construction Company, specializing in asphalt work, parking lot maintenance, patchwork, repair, paint stripping, new construction, expert repairs, complete overlay services and custom stripping. Contact Orange & Son for your landfills, for excavating and landscaping needs, red dirt, topsoil, sand, rock, shale. Call Joe Orange. The telephone number is 769-4052 here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Now, if you really want to help Jesse Jackson, let's get out here and get registered to vote. It's nothing as ugly as an unregistered person. We've got to register. We've got to have our voices known. Mrs. Johnson, I'm so happy to have you here today. And how are you?
Just fine.
I want to know how you're getting along with the Martin Luther King Jr. street change.
I'm doing fair.
What do you mean fair?
I mean that on my behalf, I'm doing just great. It seems like Gory James, our councilman, is not doing what he should do. I've told him time and time again that all you have to do is take this thing through. Don't worry about it. Everything is going to be all right. Just go ahead on and do your job. That you have the full support, and just go ahead on and do your job. But he seems to think that he don't have the votes that he need to get this thing through. He's let other council people urge him to go for the Central Expressway thing, and that's not possible. I've checked with the Department of Transportation Director, Mr. Ward. I've talked with him. I've talked with him about the chances of us getting this thing through. It's negative. He don't think that we can get it through. I've talked with the Director of Highways. He hasn't given me any one certain answer about if we can get it through. He was just like in the middle of it. I still have one other person to go to and talk to, the chairman Transportation Commissioner. I need to talk with him and find out what the chances are. I've already talked with key legislature people about this thing, and so far we're not going to get the Central Expressway. As of right now, they want to call the Central Expressway Centennial in 1989. So why Gory James wanted to make the resolution that we get go for the Central Expressway, I don't know. I did talk with him to find out why did he do this. He did not inform me Tuesday about them having a hearing on this thing. It just so happened that I got up that morning and I read the newspaper and found out that they were going to have a hearing on it. I rushed down there, talked with him, asked him questions about why he did this. He couldn't answer me. He told me that he didn't have to answer to me. He didn't have to answer to a lot of people. And I told him, yes, he did. Then he attempted to clean up his act, which I appreciate very much. He did get in city council. He did go back and kind of clean it up a little bit and said that, well, I'm for Eastern and all this type of thing, and that he's going to do what he's supposed to do. Let's just hope that he do. But at the same time, right now, I didn't like the article that in the editorials of the Chronicle. I felt like Mr. Russell Perry, he set the tone like we've already been defeated. We have not been defeated yet.
Okay, now, Ms. Johnson, what can we do to help you?
The only thing right now, I think, is that people that are in favor of this Eastern being renamed to Martin Luther King on April 17th, come down, show your support.
Where do we go?
To City Council.
And come down and show your support. Okay, that's what you want. You want
Right.
the people downtown on April the 17th at what time?
8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock. Now, all of you people that want Eastern changed to Martin Luther King Jr., be down there at exactly 8 o'clock. All right?
Right.
Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
Now, the most intelligent radio audience in Oklahoma City know all about it. The Clara Luper Radio Show, reporting for Orange & Sons Trucking and Construction Company. Let's go play some bingo. Let's go to the House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett, 6 days a week, open from 7 to 11 p.m. The House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett, 6 days a week, 7 to 11 p.m. You are invited, and Mr. George Singer want to remind you that he will be starting back with that Senior Citizens Free Bingo. That's on the second Monday, and don't you miss it. Mr. Garrett, I understand that you're just about to complete the filming of Brother President.
Just about, Miss Luper. How are you this afternoon? It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm just angry because the people, black people, don't know how to use politics to their advantage. It is just amazing to me.
Okay, now to get into the filming, as you know, your intelligent listening audience, we have been filming the movie Brother President, that of course is authored by Miss Clara Luper, and we have 2 or 3 dates of filming to go. Starting Tuesday, April the 3rd, we have 4 scenes that we're going to try to film, Miss Luper. And the first scene will be our Dixie scene. And of course, we're going back to 1983 and do the Happy Birthday scene with Stevie Wonder. We're doing various narrators, and of course, the other voices from the South. On Thursday, April the 5th, starting at 12:30, we're going to do the jail scene and our assassination scene, which of course will be held at Southgate Inn. And of course, later on that afternoon at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, April the 5th, we will be doing our marches, our various marches that of course Dr. King was involved in.
All right, now the people are going to start gathering at 5 o'clock, and for that rehearsal, we will start shooting at 5:30 p.m.
Right.
What do you think of the film so far?
Ms. Luper, without a doubt, this is one of the most outstanding productions that I've ever been involved with. I must admit, our students are doing an excellent job. They are being very patient, and also those extras that we've been using are being very patient with our filming thus far. I think when we get to the point of our grand opening, we'll be very...
Evan, Dr. Clarence Davis, Reverend Bridger. Some people looking good is those people that's in that film, Brother President. If you want to be in it, I want you to meet us at the Northeast Shopping Center. That's in the Spring Lake Park area. That's 36 and Everett Street at 5 o'clock. Now, don't you come up there chewing any gum and talking loud. All you do, you come up there and we're going to train you what we want you to do on this particular film. Is that right?
That's right, Miss Luper. And as we said, we'll train you very well. All you have to do is just be a little patient with us because if you're in the filming and moving, making business, it takes patience very much.
Well, I would like to compliment your daughter. She has really enjoyed being in that film.
Yes, she's the talk of the town right now as far as being in the movies. It's one of the things that she really talks about is school at Edwards Elementary School.
Well, that's really commendable. What you really need to do is to go to Inland Shores and get you some seafood. Seafood Market, Restaurant, and Club. 6749 East Reno. The telephone number is 732-2623. You really don't have to call. All you have to do is to go out to Inland Shores and order the kind of fish that you like. If it's oysters, doesn't make any difference. Open-faced crab with cheese, catfish, buffalo fish, shrimp. Don't worry about it. Just go on out to Inland Shores, and that's 6749 East Reno. The M&W Welding Company has moved right off of Grand and 23rd. I want to make sure that you go. If you need some burglar bars, call the M&W Welding Company here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It's time now to get ready for Easter. And to get ready for Easter, you need a tailored suit. Sir Charles the Tailor, 6225 Southeast 15th Street. The telephone number is 733-7600. That's Sir Charles the Tailor. Mr. Gary, tomorrow you have a date at 7:20 in the morning.
That's right. After a long week off for spring break, you're exactly right. We have to go back to the old grindstone, Miss Luper, to end up our last 9 weeks of the 1983-84 school year.
I know the parents are really sad that they will be without their kids next week. Parents, don't cry. They will be home when school is out. I know that you have really done something with your children this week, and now we are looking forward to seeing all of them in the morning. We would like to thank those of you that have participated in Brother President. We have more movie stars. I was counting, we have 1,500 people so far that has participated in the filming of Brother President. And we have one of our movie stars here. Mama Jack is here. Mama Jack was looking good other night, and why shouldn't she? She is certainly on her way, and certainly there were a lot of other people that were looking good, but I haven't seen anything until Thursday. Mama Jack, how are you doing?
Just fine. Thank the Lord for being amongst the living.
Well, what did you think of the filming of the night of Brother President?
Miss Luper, I've been on TV, I've been on radio, and now I'm a movie star.
All right. What did you think of Dr. King, the young man that's playing Dr. King?
Those young men are beautiful. They are great, and they open their mouth and they speak distinctly.
Okay, now, you are now a movie star.
I'm now a movie star.
But you haven't seen any movie star until you saw one of my favorite characters. I have never enjoyed anything as much as I have looking at those distinguished preachers and all those handsome sisters. Mrs. Dorothy Cooper was looking good as she always does. It was just something that was out of sight. And in checking our list, we had some people from Woke, Oklahoma. We had some people from Dallas, Texas, and it was just unbelievable. But now we are talking about Soul Bazaar. It's Soul Bazaar time. Aren't you happy?
I really am. I'll tell you something else. If you want to see some more movie stars, just come on and be with me in the baby contest and watch my young ladies and men's. They're going to be doing this talent. And we have something that's going to be on the ball. And I want 300 babies. Mothers, get your babies. We down to business. I have the tickets. I'm ready to go to work. I want the young people from 5 to 12 be in my talent show because we got something great going for them. Bring me your babies. And that's at 427-3065, 427-2914. The address is 1411 Northeast 37. Call Mama Jack and I'm ready for you.
Mama Jack, you're ready. Mama Jack is a movie star now, so I want you all to be sure and get her autograph because she is a movie star and you want people to call you for babies?
Babies, 300 babies.
Well, speaking of the Soul Bazaar, Mama Jack, let me tell you the Soul Bazaar will open on May 4th, 1984. It will open at the Myriad Convention Center. Dolly Turner's annual show will open the Soul Bazaar. We are looking for 15 young, beautiful ladies to march down representing the 15 years of the Soul Bazaar. Just think, for 15 years, the Soul Bazaar has been in business because of you. There will be Jack Horn's show will be part of Soul Bazaar 84. The Starlight Tumblers, the Douglas High School Dancers, the Lady Ruth Hunter's Fashion Show, the Handicap Show, the Boxing Show, the Battle of the Bands, Spencer's Parade of Beauty. The Baby Show will be at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night, 1984, and at 8 p.m., the annual coronation of Miss Soul Bazaar. The annual Soul Bazaar Parade will start lining up at 9 a.m., and we want all of you to participate in the Soul Bazaar. The reason we want you to participate is because you are somebody. We want you to participate because at 11:30 p.m. there will be a drill team show and a stomp show. Mr. Arthur Houston says that he has fraternities and sororities coming in from all over the region. At 12:30 p.m., Nancy Davis' annual fashion show. At 3 p.m., there will be another round of the stomp show. You will have a karate show. You will have battles of the band. You will see the Starlight Tumblers and the All-State Talent Show. Nothing like Soul Bazaar of 1984. You will also, Mrs. Lady Ruth Hunter is giving you something that has never been done in Oklahoma City. It's to find out who can present the best fashion show in 15 minutes. It's called the Lady Ruth Hunter's Fashion Show Tournament. Now, I don't know how this tournament's going to operate. I will have to ask Lady Hunter because I know she will have at least 6 people presenting fashion shows for how many minutes with trophies to see who can present the best fashion show. That's something different, isn't it?
I'm telling you.
Mrs. Hunter, how in the world did you think of a Hunter's Fashion Show Tournament? How are you going to set up a fashion show tournament to see who can present the best fashion show?
Oh, Mrs. Luper, that's very easily done because, you know, I know fashion since I've been in the business for a long time. You remember you said we've been there for 15 years. Now, if you can't do something in 15 years, you need to hang up your coat.
So you're going to have a fashion show, and you're going to see who can present in 15 minutes the best fashion show.
That's right.
And you're going to have professional judges of all of they can select their own theme for the fashion show.
We're going to have some judges, right.
And they can select their own theme. Well, I know Joyce Jaggers is a fashion show set-upper, and let's open the telephones out here and see who in Oklahoma City can set up the best fashion show for 14 minutes. Now, that will be on Sunday, May 6th. And you may call Mrs. Hunter here, 424-3376. And tell her somebody you know can set up the best fashion show. The first one call, we will give you a free ticket because we want you to see the show. Mrs. Mathis has done it again. Mrs. Gloria Mathis has done it again, Calvin. Tell me what Mrs. Gloria Mathis has done. Tell me.
At Mrs. Gloria Matthews of Chauncey's Chardina's Child Care will be opening a new babysitting place. This is going to be next door to the Freedom Center there at 2611 Northeastern, and it'll be open from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. at night. And if you have more than one kid, she has a special price on infants to school age, and if you have more than that one kid. And for putting in your application now, you can call 424-4656 or call 427-5274. If you need a great babysitter, then let us recommend Chauncey Chardina's because they take care of a lot of business, and plus, she's a very beautiful young lady.
Calvin, I understand you're in insurance business. Tell me about it.
Well, you're absolutely right. I'm with the Equitable Life Insurance Company, and it's a very great company. I'm happy to be a part of a great team here in the Oklahoma City area, and I know your intelligent listening audience that cares about not only their future, but their kids' future will want to contact me about their insurance needs, especially their life insurance.
How can they contact you, Calvin?
You can contact me at 424-3949 or 840-3311. You know, I'd like to apologize to the audience, too, about my voice. But while we were cheering for Jesse at the meeting yesterday, I kind of got a little hoarse. Not as hoarse as Merlin, but I'm a little hoarse. But so many exciting things are happening. I'm just glad I'm with Equitable. I look forward to tomorrow evening. And because I know that by tomorrow evening I had 30 or 40 calls from your listening audience at the office or either at the house. And then I'll be able to relax coming home listening to that new Ben Tipton show, A Man, his message and his song. And then I know that the Miss Black Oklahoma City is coming, and I look forward to the Soul Bazaar and this Mrs. Hunter's 15-minute fashion show. Now, that promises to be exciting.
Well, she's going to have a fashion show tournament, and people are calling us now telling us who can really put on a fashion show. I have so many movie stars in Oklahoma City. I saw Mrs. Lula Bright, and she was looking good, Mrs. Shannon Ford, Mrs. Ruby Denmark. You can become a movie star. All you have to do is be at Spring Lake Park's shopping center. They call it the Northeast Shopping Center on Thursday at exactly 5 o'clock. We will train you for your role, and you will play it. Marilyn would like to say thanks to you for remembering her. And she's with Allstate Insurance. Now you have a choice. If you like Calvin, call Equitable. Call Equitable.
Well, no, let's don't put it personal
okay,
like that.
it is personal.
Allstate is a great company.
Yes,
but the Equitable Life Insurance Company is just a little bit better.
Okay, Calvin, I can't discriminate between you and Marilyn, so I'll tell them call the one they want to call.
Well, right. That's all you can do because I think both our companies will make sure that our customers are the best protected customers insurance-wise that they choose to be. And both of us are professionals, and we want to do a professional job with your insurance needs.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Now, Mrs. Hunter, I want to know who can put on the best fashion show in 15 minutes. Now, tell me, who are some of your people that will be competing?
We have gotten a couple of names, Mrs. Luper, and some others will be calling in. First one is Miss Lucas, and then the other one is Miss Jackson.
Oh,
I have two people.
Okay, well, that's really
and
good.
I'm going to, they're going to call me in. We're going to get together and see.
That's really good. We will be able to say who can put on the best fashion show. Let's take the funeral and death announcements, please.
Okay, we do have Mrs. Laverne Graves Briggs at 526 Northeast 10th Street at Temple's Funeral Home, and her services are pending. We told you about the Reverend Ford at 4305 Everett Street, and their services is 11 Tuesday at Mount Carmel Baptist Church. I just want to extend to you my deepest sympathy.
As I look at the clock on the wall, I know it's time for me to say goodbye. I hate to say goodbye to you, darling, because I don't know when I'll see you again. But I want you to know, come on, Jesse, Ron. Jesse, Ron, Jesse, win, win, win. We are proud of Jesse. And now this is Clara Luper saying, I've tried to divide everything I had with you. I want you to be a part of everything that Clara Luper's a part of, because I am not one of these self-made blacks. Whatever I am, you out there in radio land, black and white, have made it possible. And I just want to say thank you, and I love you, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye, darling.